Well, hello. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Steven. So, this week's blog is entitled The Pot Boils Over. It's all about last week's presidential debates. Now, I'm going to be candid with you. I specifically decided not to write about President Trump coming down with COVID-19. To be quite candid with you, because I'm not entirely sure that actually is going to fundamentally alter the nature of the electorate or changes any of the underlying political philosophy. I'm sure you, like the vast majority of the Americans, watched the debates last Tuesday night. I'm also sure that you probably missed the vice presidential debates last night. That notwithstanding, we'll talk about those later. Generally speaking, most people said that the presidential debates were kind of a train wreck, very unpresidential, that President Trump acted beneath his office and Vice President Biden, just kind of stood there. I think that is a fundamental misreading of what actually took place. I make no apologies for this. I have said numerous times that I don't particularly like Donald Trump's governing style. I also don't particularly like the apparent absence of any form of an underlying political philosophy that he has. I also am very candid about the fact that I think he is exactly what the country needed right now. And, the reality is the American body politic had become calcified in what could best be described as a governmental bureaucracy industrial complex, really since the late 1960s. While this created an established predictability, it also was slowly destroying the very fabric of what our country was originally founded on. In fact, Alexis de Tocqueville was very, very specific in his writings in the early 1800s that this is exactly what would befall the United States if we weren't absolutely conscious of it. The end game of this governmental industrial complex is not a pleasant one. So, kind of going against that was, in my opinion, to be somewhat revolutionary. And all of the things that have been amassed to try to take Trump out of office, I think, are effectively counter-revolutionary pressures. That all notwithstanding, the debate last week had a certain, appeal to it in a sort of non-conventional way. Most people saw President Trump being angry and belligerent. What I saw was President Trump effectively becoming a proxy. If you ever watch any of the town halls that politicians went to, one of the things that started to manifest probably about 10 years ago were extraordinarily angry constituents, people that were legitimately fed up. And they would stand there and take that politician to task. And generally speaking, most people looked at this and said, this is a very, very positive thing. These politicians are being effectively held to the fire. Now, the media certainly isn't doing that. They do that when it comes to a Republican politician, but they're certainly not doing that when it comes to a Democratic politician. What President Trump did was effectively become the angry constituent. Everything that the Democratic Party has done over the really since even before the convention, the Democratic Convention, was essentially run on a platform that they're not Trump, that Trump in and of himself is bad. Not policy objectives seem to be somewhat secondary. In fact, they candidly don't even really want to talk about their policy objectives. Vice President Biden was very, very specific. He wouldn't talk about his policy objectives, lest those policy objectives end up becoming the centerpiece of the discussion, which I thought was an incredibly bizarre response to a question about potentially packing the Supreme Court. Effectively, I'm going to keep a secret, vote for me, and you will see how my secret plays itself out. Very similar to you have to vote for Obamacare in order to see what's in it. President Trump, interestingly enough, was the one who was going to hold Biden's feet to the fire, effectively becoming that angry constituent. Now, it wasn't pleasant to watch. There's no question about that. And in all honesty, I think that there were a number of issues that Trump, had he just simply kept his mouth quiet, I think that Biden would have probably self-destructed. But he played an important role, one that the media, quite candidly, is not being willing to play. In any event, read the blog. Disagree with it completely. I mean, I get that. Send me an email if you want to talk to me. Go ahead and post your comment directly on the blog. As always, though, I want you to train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and train with purpose. And above all else, stay safe.